Okay, we are live on UNLV Biomechanics Facebook page, and I am recording. I'm John Mercer, professor at University of Nevada, Las Vegas. And today I've got a really great dynamic speaker and innovator, Jackson Corley. Hey, Jackson, how's it going?
Awesome. Can't wait to help out today and get my brain out on Facebook.
Yeah, no, that's great. And hey, thanks so much for doing this. I know you're super busy. You're the founder, CTO, and chairman of Incrediware. And CTO, let me just check because I'm not in the business world. That's Chief Technology Officer.
Correct. All the
Awesome.
development. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Inventions and development of products.
That is great. And what an exciting position to be in. And I know you, we've been talking for some time over the past really year at this point. And you are a real innovator and your product is innovative. And it'll be fun to hear a bit about that story. So why don't we just jump right into that? Tell us
Okay.
your story. How'd you get started with Incrediware?
Well, you know what? This is, and I think everybody that's listening needs to actually think about this because really innovation often comes as a result of necessity. And my background was chemistry. Then I was a chiropractor. And I was a chiropractor for 22 years with the Olympic team and with Denver Broncos, the Houston Oilers. That's how old I am. Just imagine coming back with that name. So innovation, I had invented a bunch of different products and they were always a result of patients needing something. And in 2008, was a sub 15-minute 5K runner. I was extreme biker, extreme skier, and I was up mountain biking out of my local town, which is Chico, California, lots of lava, by myself, December 26th, day after Christmas. It was 5 o'clock and the sun was going down at 5:15 and I had 10 miles to go in the dark. And I flew off a cliff. My seat was too high. I was going really fast. I was all by myself, out of cell service, and basically hit a lava rock and I could just see my bike in slow motion. Woo, just going past me. And at that time I had the largest chiropractic practice in Northern California. So I worked from about 5:45 in the morning till almost 6:30 every night. And so I was thinking, whoa, I broke my wrist in the fall, and I actually got up and I rode my bike out and thought, wow, you know what? I think I broke my wrist, but I'm not sure. Yeah, they're swollen. And the next day I woke up and I was thinking, wow, I still have my next ride. So I rode with my buddies, but I had to lean over like this on the bike and I couldn't stand up straight. And I walked over the area where the cliff was, too afraid to go past it on bike. And then I got home and I was like, wow, man, I can stand up. So I did some shoveling. And that night I went on a 10-mile night run with a night light and a light on my waist. And halfway through the run, I'm running along and all of a sudden, my foot was dropping. And I was like, man, that's weird. I have pain in my hip, but I don't have any pain in my legs or anything. So I went home, toweled off, and I couldn't feel my leg when I was toweling off. And I was like, oh, crap, this is bad. And so I went to sleep. And the next day I got up and I tried to take one step. And that was the last step I took without a walker or a wheelchair for 4 months. Went to 4 neurosurgeons. They said, at the time, I think I was about 47. They said, listen, we want to fuse your entire spine because you have herniated discs from L4 to L3 that are in the spinal cord. And so they said, look, we don't know how you're going to be, but there's a chance you'll be good. There's a chance you won't be good. The odds are 50-50. And as a conservative chiropractor, I was thinking, oh, man, I don't like those odds. So about 2 or 3 months later, I'd already gone to the US ski team doctor. I'd gone to San Francisco Spine Institute, and I had an aha moment. I was studying germanium molecules that were in Japan. Germanium is a semiconductor, but when it's taken orally, it increases blood flow, and they've been using it for hundreds of years there. If you take too much, it is toxic. So I was a little worried about that. And then in the Bay Area, I'm from the Bay Area, they had just discovered germanium as being the fastest computer chip in the world. And I was going back to my chemistry background. I thought, man, what if I try to put a couple things together? And it really was an aha moment because I'm in a wheelchair, so I can't walk. Too much pain. I had people lifting me up to move me. It was really a scary situation, and so I had already invented a bunch of other products, uh, flotation insoles, homeopathic sublingual sprays. My brain was kind of in that direction, and I just thought, wow, what if I put this in a brace and see what happens? And literally within a couple of weeks of getting my first brace in April of 2009, I did this in 2008. I was like, whoa, what's going on? My back is hot, but I put on the brace and it cools me down.
Huh.
And then within a couple of weeks, I was like, wow, my foot drop is getting better. And I went back to San Francisco Spine Center and they said, wow, this is weird. I usually hear you coming in. I know it's Jackson because you're in a walker and your foot's doing this as you come in, and I didn't hear it as loud. So that was the start of Incrediwear, was all out of necessity. It was pretty cool.
Wow, that's amazing. And yeah, and so that's interesting. It, you got to that spot by one, having the injury, which is terrible, and I'm glad you're okay. But then two, going back to your chemistry interest, it's interesting that you came across that product and then had the foresight to actually integrate that into a brace. Uh, so I mean that's your innovative background, is you're always looking to, looking at the same information we all see, but you see it a little differently.
Absolutely. Some of the best innovation is innovation that you come up for yourself. And what I want to go over today too is, how you create that innovation and what do you go there. But first, you need to find out, is there a market? And in this case, I didn't care if there was a market or not. I was in pain and there was nothing getting better. So I was like, oh my God, I got to help myself. And I almost feel like, just like, when they found out that WD-40, that was by accident. When the little pads, that was by accident. I think that some of the best innovations are by accident. However, if you are innovative and you are open-minded and you are not compressed by school, because school actually, as we were talking before, actually kind of gets you out of the mold of actually thinking independently and creatively, is that the answers to a lot of solutions are out there. They're there. It's just that are you trying to make an effort to try to look at what's out there that could be maybe not true, like ice. Now we had rice all these years, and now we're saying, oh, that's BS. Oh, that doesn't even work. We can't do ice more than 5 minutes under 62 degrees Fahrenheit because it causes tissue damage. Mm-hmm. Or if you do too much heat, oh, that's going to vasodilate. That's going to cause some problems. Well, we've been doing those things for years. Heat, ice, heat, ice, heat, ice. And so nobody ever challenged the norm. Mm-hmm. And that's where we're really messed up. If you're not challenging the norm. And number two is if you're not creating something that's actually going to rock the market. And that's what we're going to talk about today too, because literally I almost feel like the mafia guys that create pain or treat pain by medication, maybe they're behind my back, trying to knock me off, because our product gets rid of pain without any medication. So it's one of those things that, you have to think out of that box.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love it. So, and we talked a little bit before we got started in terms of learning, and some of the challenges, even with a university degree, is sometimes we move a little bit slower. And I said to you, I think, even your undergrad degree was probably holding you back a little bit because you want to innovate and you have to be flexible and nimble and move pretty quick. So how do you recommend students approach even the classes that they have to take? There's a 4-year degree, sometimes 5, maybe 6 years.
Yeah, it's interesting because when you guys right now in this mindset you're at the brainchild. You're actually like this inquisitive kid that's like, well, how does that work? And how does that work? And how does that work? And all of a sudden you pick up a book and it's saying, this is how it works. And in reality, what you should say is, does it really work that way? Mm-hmm. Or, you know what? We're actually, you guys are sports injury and sports scientists. And right now, we know so little about the brain, yet we've been studying it for so long. We put billions of dollars into cancer research, and we know this much now. And that means that there is a lot of room to grow and a lot of room to create something new. And I think this is where today I hope I open up your brain a little bit, because listen, in sports, we're just on the edge of creation. We look at the different treatments that have been out there for years, ultrasound, and everyone says it's going to go to wearables. Yeah, wearable things to record what's going on with your body. But in actuality, the solution is where you want to look at. So you're going through school and you want to go, okay, back here, what do I want that to look like? I'm going through 4, 5, 6 years of college. In the end, what do I want? Where do I want to be? Write the last chapter of your school before you actually start the school, because then you can actually build the book. And that book at the very end might already have you creating a product or creating something that's going to be a solution in sports that's going to rock the world. You need to be a market disruptor. And that's the only thing that you can do, is challenge yourself during this 5 years where you're going to actually don't believe what the books say. Sorry, John.
Oh, that's awesome.
I remember I was a 4.0 student going through school. And what I did was I read the book to actually think, oh, I wonder what the teacher would ask me. And it was easy. It was like, okay, I think the teacher's going to ask me this. Well, guess what? That's usually what they ask on the test. Well, the answer is right there. But the answers in life aren't in a book.
Oh.
They're not sitting in front of you and available to you. You need to be out here looking at yourself going, okay, if I want to sleep better, if I want to run faster, tell me right now, what is on the market that increases your performance?
Oh,
and besides drugs.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've got the latest craze is the new shoe. I won't brand drop, but
Yeah.
shoes, supposedly. Yeah.
How about inside your body to make you go faster?
Oh, well.
And training is always changing.
Yeah.
So now we're at HIITs, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
Then what is on the market right now that helps you recover while you sleep, besides us?
Mm-hmm.
It's silence.
Mm-hmm.
And so there is opportunity to try to figure out something. I mean, shoes are mechanical. Shoes, that's a mechanical thing. But what can you do for your body on the inside to allow you to actually perform better is a lot on recovery, and it's a lot on prevention. So that's where you guys should be going. What can I do to make my body recover faster and prevent an injury? That's where we really need to go, because that helps performance. And then we look at some sort of incredible wearables that might, increase the performance while you're doing activities, but it's not there yet.
No, that's great. And yeah, we always talk in the real world, to be successful in a marathon, you have to get to the start line healthy. And that will at least give you your best chance to be successful and reach your goal. So I love that message. Now, as an innovator, someone who really, takes this to heart, I imagine you don't operate in a bubble, and you've got people that you run ideas by, and that may challenge the way that you think. Who do you maybe collaborate with, or how do you, express your ideas and bounce ideas off of, or who do you bounce ideas off of?
So this is the trick, is that you need to actually make a lot of connections. So yesterday it was Nico, from the head doctor of Real Madrid. 2 days ago, it was the head doctor of the University of Charles University in the Czech Republic. Every day is, these amazing people and amazing doctors that also have the same mindset. They actually don't believe that you can't, there's no way you can grow Highland cartilage. They don't believe that. Mm-hmm. They believe that there's an answer and a solution to everything. This week I've been on with doctors that have created, or scientists that have created wearable EMGs that we can actually measure, what's going on in the muscle. Is it fatigued? Is it actually activated? Is it going to get injured? I can measure that during activity. These are the people that you need to actually hang with, are the doctors that are going to create that innovation or that brain thought and challenge you. So what I do is I create what are called think tanks. And so I do think tanks with like Jonathan Sum, the head of research at USC, Keck School of Medicine, or I'll do Johan Wang, who is the Warriors trainer. This is something that if you guys have a lot of interest in, I can connect to you guys. I'm on the phone with the best of the best orthopedic surgeons and or trainers. You know, we do 27 NBA teams, 17 NFL, now 20 NFL teams, Premier League. I mean, we do the top of the top from Ronaldo down the line. And the key is that these people are looking for a solution. And you as a scientist, you as a student are looking to deliver. And how can you actually deliver something, you know, that's going to help them? And that's what you need to think. What can I do to impact this Real Madrid or Arsenal? Or, you know, we just finished doing a study with the NBA referees and one with the Denver Nuggets, is that I bring a solution to them and they go, whoa, could that have an impact? And they're excited about it. So I'm thinking that your students are, because of school, initially at least, stuck in this realm of, you know, oh, this is what's out there, this is what it does, and this is what it can do. But in actuality, you need to look at, what are you trying to create? Are you trying to create a change in, say, like we said, the performance? Are you trying to change, you know, the way that you prevent injuries? Or, you know, are you just trying to get it through school? Because in reality, you need to leave your legacy, and you need to get ideas all the time. And sometimes that idea comes when you're out just thinking, and the idea comes to you. And what I was talking to John about earlier today is, in 1980, I wrote down, I want to be an international businessman. And I wrote it down. I was listening to Tony Robbins doing you know, his program. And I was like, man, I gotta write all this down. And after I was finished, I was so stressed. I was so stressed because, like, do your action steps, you gotta do your goals, you do your 3-year goals and your 5-year goals, and I gotta make it. And I wrote all that down, and I was very consistent. And you as a student need to be consistent at going towards your goal and creating this. And part of my PowerPoint that I'm going to go over today, which will be fairly quick, is about you trying to look at, wow, I came up with this idea, but is it real? Is it marketable? Is it creating a solution? And that's what you want to do also, is look at what the market is. I'm going to give you 3 markets that are amazing. Pain is #1 seller in the world. #2 is actually weight loss, which I'm not a big thing on weight loss because there's so many factors that go into it. And #3 is actually anti-aging. Then you get into sports, and in sports, it's all about recovery. It's all about, you know, prevention, and it's about performance. So when we take a look at those, let's help you develop an idea and something that you can go towards. If you take a look at this, one of the things that's out there on the market is this thing called ice. And it sits over here, and it affects your body at about 65 degrees Fahrenheit. It starts cooling you down, and you get like shivers, and you actually start vasoconstricting. And then after a while, you know, your body will shut down if you're thrown into, say, the Arctic and stay in there for 5 minutes. And then on the other side, you have this thing called heat. And that's what happens when you go and exercise. When you get hot, it vasodilates you. So you guys should be thinking about, in sports, what can I do in between here that's going to maximize your ability to function? Because if you get too cold, it's going to actually shut you down. And if you get too hot, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to shut you down. What's happening in between is performance. That's one of the things that you need to do, is think about what I can do in here. And then how does ice affect recovery, and how does heat affect recovery? Because I went into the Warriors the first time in 2012, and they're using a hydrocollator. And I was thinking, you're using a hydrocollator. You heat something up before practice and you get it too hot, it's going to vasodilate, you're actually going to create more injury. And then they have the ice, and they're putting ice on it. So I think one of the things that you guys really need to focus on in sports is look at what's happening inside this circle. And
Mhm.
that's that, you said I don't live in a bubble, but sometimes you need to see what's in the bubble now. It's being done, and then look from the outside, inside that bubble, what's happening. And
Mhm.
then that could be an amazing study in paper.
Well, and I love how you started this where you talked about, creating these think tanks and these collaborators, because, in a class like I'm teaching, we do a group project. And I always tell students, I hate group projects, right? Because, how do they usually work? One person sort of takes it over and runs with it, and the other, someone sort of coasts along, and you got someone. But if you find a group of people that you have a shared interest in, then it's totally different. And that's what I try to establish, are groups that share an interest, because now you're bouncing ideas off of each other and you're challenging each other. And I love the idea of a think tank, and all the different collaborators that you have, because I'm sure the value of that is they challenge how you think, and
Absolutely.
either changes the way that you articulate a message, or influences the way you think about things. And that's why we try to surround ourselves with people to collaborate with.
It's interesting because I just talked about Nico. I literally am creating projects all the time,
Hmm.
and they don't all work. But I'm creating one right now with the head, one of the head doctors of the NBA, and then Nico and some amazing doctors. And I just asked Nico yesterday, and I think this is a great thing, because when I sit down with Nico, now, Nico came to me because I saved him $110,000 on a soccer player that got better 50% faster. He got better 10 days faster, and he was being paid 10 grand a day, or 11 days faster. So I got 110,000. I said, just give me 110,000 for saving you, because I got your star player back.
Right.
And he calls me up and goes, how'd you do that? And that's how it all starts. And when we sit down, and you're in a think tank with your group, and I would love to help you create these think tanks, because I can bring doctors in with your groups. I can get doctors, and like I said, amazing trainers, and they'd be more than happy to go in by Skype, sit down with us, and do these and start thinking about. But I said yesterday, I said, hey, Nico, I'm working on this new project. I didn't tell him what it was. I'm building a great group of peeps to build this next new amazing product. And what do you think? And he says, his answer today, this morning, was, I'm in. If you want me, I want to be where you go.
There you go. That's awesome.
That's what happens when you're leading these think tanks. And so that's where I want you guys to go, is to go where you think nobody would actually go. And once you start creating that, people come to you, and they come to you, and they want to actually open up your brain. And that's hopefully what we're going to be doing for you guys today in the little time we have left.
I know that this is a great great topic to talk with. Now, I know you've got some slides ready, and you want to
Or
go.
we can go with more questions and things. I'm totally open to that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no. One of the things I do want to get to is the product that you have. I don't know how many people are familiar with IncrediWare. So, do your slides go through that part, or?
A little bit, yeah. And I think let me go ahead and see if I can share my screen, and I'll try to go through it. I have a lot of slides, but when I do talks, I go through them very fast,
Yeah.
which is great. And it moves very fast. We do international trainings every Thursday morning. Like I said, we're in 39 countries now and growing. We just got our 40th country just this morning, which will be South Korea.
Oh.
And so pretty exciting. But here we go.
Well, and as you bring that up, I really value the international experience you have with colleagues, because then you can really get some unique and different perspectives, and that's valuable.
Well, I will tell you, just before we move on to this, is that in Europe, they were way ahead of us. They were going, compression is going away. It's gone. Show me the study that it works. Ice is going away. So there's a void right now. It's totally open, where anyone can come and jump in. And if you have the right product, or you have the right message, you can rock. I just need you to enable me.
Oh, I got to allow you to share. That's right. Sorry. Okay, try now.
Okay. Phew. And we will, we'll get some of your, and we can do this by, I think you'll probably want to do it by Skype or Zoom as well. We will bring on, and I can start doing this, and you can start interviewing them, Harvard grads that are regenerative doctors because they're in sports medicine. We can go ahead and bring on like the trainer for the Warriors and where that's going. And we can just line these up so that you can get an idea. Or maybe what you guys can do is listen to one of my think tanks that we talk about. And then it might stimulate your brain. Remember, again, before we start, I'm just going to give you a little bit on Incrediware. Remember what happened to me is I flew off a cliff mountain biking. What's the solution? Is being out of pain and accelerated recovery. What happened as a result of that is I developed the first wearable anti-inflammatory, which means that it's a product that you put on. It's embedded with these semiconductors that when they're heated by your body, they vibrate your cells. It's like a mini earthquake on the bottom of the ocean. And when that happens, it creates a tsunami wave. This wave of fluid pushes everything into the lymphatic system. The lymph system is a sewer system of the body. These are mid-level infrared optical waves. You can Google germanium and it says it's a semiconductor. Then you can Google the peer-reviewed study on germanium showing it causes germanium releases mid-level infrared optical waves. It never stops vibrating and oscillating the tissue at a cellular level. And when that happens, just think about it. You're exercising without exercising because the only thing that pushes the lymphatic system is muscle contraction. You contract the muscle and it moves it. So what happens at rest? Nothing, exactly. And that's why we're the first product that actually helps you recover at night. And that's where we came in when I was started with the Warriors, my first basketball team. On the package, it says we couldn't have won without you. But really, it's what are you doing at rest to help your body recover? Because at rest, your heart rate goes down, your blood pressure goes down, there's nothing moving, and 90% of your day is sedentary. So basically what we developed, or I developed, was the first wearable product. When you get rid of inflammation, you get rid of pain. And now what's happening is all of a sudden I had all these players start wearing this during games. And so you'll see a Ben Roethlisberger, or you'll see a Todd Gurley, or all these different teams. We do so many that you'll see them wearing the product during the game. It has no logo on it, but it's increasing the blood flow, getting rid of the inflammation at the same time, so that what happens is you can perform better. And so now I need some students to do some studies for me, which are in relationship to performance. Now I have 15 studies going, and you'll see them from, like I said, from Prague to Denmark to 2 in Canada. They're starting on concussions and diabetic neuropathy and so on. But really what we need to think about when you're a student is, I said right the last chapter. So what you need to do is, when you're thinking of a product that you want to develop, think about what is that going to look like? So we have to actually do research. It's not easy. You gotta, this is not like, oh, I'm going to develop a cell phone and it's going to what? It's going to sell to everyone. No, I got a flip phone. Oh yeah, why should I go to this? Is because you need to look at the market and be, you have to look, and there's a slight bit of a risk when you do this. But if you know what the market is and you look and see that it's going to be $14.3 billion in just 2 years, and that's about orthopedic and mobility. And look where you guys are. It's all about enhanced mobility, speed of recovery. And it's not just about speed of recovery for athletics, but it's surgery. And for us, we're the fastest recovery ever for ACL and total knee. And it just, the list goes on and on. But where would you fit? Because there is a market there. And what Incrediware came to be at first, and it was all about pain relief, because I was in pain. And that's where, if we're looking at markets and you're looking at recovery, let's go and see what the studies are on recovery and what you can develop and where that market's going to go. Then what you need to do is, like on pain, you're going to go and see what's the current market. It's pharmaceuticals, invasive operations, and what is there? tech gadgets, like ultrasound or maybe there's a Normatec or there's these other things. You need to look and see what your market is to create the idea. And when you start doing that, then you start saying, oh, well, what's the solution? What is the solution that I'm creating? So if you're not creating a solution, you don't have a product, because that's the number one thing that you do. What is the solution that you're creating that's going to have a impact in the world? And is it a niche one or is it a big one? For me, I want to take over the world. I want to be the first product you get up when you get out of bed in the morning because you want to feel good. I want to be the first product that a doctor puts on when you get injured. I want to be the first product that you put on when you go to play basketball. I want to have you take it off and put on recovery clothes that you're going to sleep in, and on and on. So what is my market? It doesn't matter if it's kids or it's 90-year-olds. We treat them all. So take a look at what your market is. Pain is everywhere. Everyone has pain. On recovery, you're looking at athletes. So how can I do that? I can get rid of pain, but I can also accelerate recovery. That's the end of the book. Did you have anything to say, John, before I move on?
No, this is great. This is,
okay.
I like the story you're telling here.
This is one of the things. Once you develop that ability to go and see what your product can do, you better have a study, and you better get that on the books, and you better prove that what you're saying is not BS. So we have studies that show 94% faster recovery wearing our product for arthritis. That's pain relief. And that was a peer-reviewed study. 94% of the people got better, 63% increase in improvement in pain without doing anything. And then the other thing that I looked at is I kept on going to, now remember, I developed a lot of products. So I was already in about 7 countries, with these other products. And so I already had the ability to go in and sell into like health food stores. It's great. Oh, they want to have a solution. The solution is they don't want to give medication. You're in a health food store. Wow, that's a great market. Pharmacists, they do want to give medication to make money, but they want to have something ancillary. When I went to sports teams, I had only USC in 2011. I went to them, I showed them what my product did under a microscope, and they were like, whoa, this is crazy. One day, I was reading about Steph Curry. So you need to have guts to be able to do things. I'm reading about Steph Curry. He's got a sprained ankle that hasn't gone away since he was really in college. And he's tried everything. And then Andre Iguodala was having hamstring problems. So I picked up my phone and I was like, I'm going to call those guys. Mm-hmm. So I called them up and I said, hey, I got a product that's going to help you. Can you get back to me? This is my cell number. 2 weeks later go by. And I'm like, man, no call. Should I call again? Yeah, hell yeah, I'm going to call again. You don't get anywhere in life by expecting them to call back. So I called them back. Johan gets on the phone. He goes, oh man, I'm so glad you called back. And I was like, why? He said, because when you left your number, you went out of cell service. So I only got the first 3 numbers, when you were calling. I was like, oh shit, this is great. I got the trainer for the Warriors and he wants me to come in and show him how the product works. And he's like a scientist, which you should be. You should be a scientist that disproves everything. Mm-hmm. You should try to disprove everything. And when you get something that works, now you have a winner. So I brought in a microscope, showed him how the product worked under a microscope. And later he tells me, he said, Jackson, you know what? We're looking at the capillaries and you lay the product in and quadrupled my blood flow. But in actuality, I had a bunch of coffee right before you came in. Uh-huh. And I was like, oh no. But he said, what sold me was my assistant, who is now the head trainer for the Warriors and has been for the last couple of years. I dipped my product in hot water and the hydrocollator, took it out, wrung it out, put it on his arm, and he goes, whoa, that's freezing cold, yet it's hot. Wow, that's amazing. And he wore it for 30 minutes while I was doing the demo. He said that's what sold the product, is that you need to have all the angles of how this product works. But I will tell you, when I first started, I had no clue. Mm-hmm. I had no clue what it did. I was like, man, it feels good. I didn't know what the science was. So it took a while. So sometimes when you have a winner and you have something that you developed, try to get the science as fast as you can. In 2017, Boston University did a study showing that germanium released a mid-level infrared optical wave,
Hmm.
and it's peer reviewed. But until then, it was a theory. Now it's proof. So it did take me about 7 years. So find out what you're going to be doing. So at first it was recover while you sleep. Now it's recover while you play as well. And so when you're going and lecturing around the world, this happens to be at the Czech Republic, you explain how the product works. You get it out there. You start talking about it. Then all of a sudden what happens is, then you start thinking, well, what do I need? What am I going to need to be able to build this company? Well, I need a theory, how it works and how does it actually work inside the body? So I created where IncrediWear comes in to what's called the cascade response to injury. And so now what I do is, I lecture, I say, look, your body creates heat, swelling, and pooling of blood. What if I get rid of that? And that's exactly what we're doing. I just found out yesterday that our first study on MRIs in trauma, we just went in and we took a traumatized horse leg and we MRI'd it, put on our product, and 6 hours later we re-MRI'd it, and the swelling was down 50% in 6 hours. And I was like, whoa, no way, that's crazy. And so you need to actually do a lot of reconnaissance work, almost, so to speak. Once you have the idea, you need to find out what's out there and then how your product is going to be affected or will affect these areas. You know, what creates pain? Prostaglandins. What causes it when you compress? That's compression. That's out on the market. What does it do? Dude, you put compression on a finger, just put a rubber band on it. Look what it does. Oh. There's so much things out there that you guys could do in this recovery realm, because look at, there's 2 of them. Compression doesn't work on a superficial muscle. It's going to actually create more problems. You're gonna actually cut off blood flow. Would you ever go around going, yeah, I'm gonna go and take a test right now. Yeah, whoa, more blood to your brain. No, it does the opposite. Ice does the same thing. It's a really good analgesic, but really you need to actually back it up then with studies. And so what we do is this. This is a peer-reviewed study on us. Like I said, we have about 15 going. We're actually in the process with John of doing a few, but we need to go and go, okay, how did I get rid of pain? How did I do it? How did I reduce the inflammation without drugs? And that's what we're doing now, is we're looking at what can we do? We can see pictures that in 1 week with a sprained ankle, it's that much better. Or post-surgery, day 3, and then all of a sudden at day 10 of a total knee surgery, it's full range of motion. These are orthopedic surgeons doing this stuff and showing us and going, wow, this is amazing. So how does it do that? Okay, you are the scientist. You come up with the idea, you get the theory, and then you prove it. So when you go and say, just like what we did was, I can thermoregulate you. I knock off the top half of the cascade response injury by getting rid of heat. What does heat do? And then you start thinking, heat causes vasodilation. That increases permeability of arteries and vessels. And when you do that, it's going to cause pooling of blood. What if I could keep the temperature down so it's a perfect level, just like we said here, in between this level where it's not hot, not cold, and you're not going to have the tissue damage? What would happen? That's what I want you guys to develop. Get some products at that. I'm giving you an amazing idea to go and help prove. This right here, you developed this and you just created a new product that's going to actually take over the recovery world. How do we actually manage heat? Is you put on our product and you can see just in, this is 5 minutes later, you can see the temperature dropping, yet you're wearing a sleeve. You put on the sleeve and just like a jacket, it should heat you up, but it doesn't. You put it on and it's vibrating the cells, but it releases a negative ion. The negative ion causes an exothermic response, kicking heat off your body. We didn't know that until one of the US Olympic water polo guys puts on one of my leg sleeves and he goes, geez, I just got out of the pool and I'm hot and all of a sudden my leg is cold. What's up? And I was like, I don't know. So I went to USC and asked their physics department what was going on. These are the things that you need to build. You need to build the idea. You need to build actually what it's doing. Where do you have swelling, interstitial, intermuscular, interarticular? How am I going to get rid of that? What studies can I do that are actually going to show that? Is it ultrasound? Is it MRI? What is it? And then all of a sudden, once you have pain, you have muscle spasms. What if I have an athlete that I could actually measure whether or not their muscle's starting to recruit another muscle somewhere else. Oh, and they start compensating. I know they're going to get injured because you don't get injured in the first quarter because you have vasodilation. You get injured in the first quarter of a game because you're not stretched out. In the last quarter, it's because you're too hot and fatigued. And what happens, you don't have oxygen and nutrients to the cell. What if we take that in between area and we can actually make you perform better, not get injured here without contact, and also not get fatigued to create an injury? That's all about what's happening to the musculature of the body. So improving function and mobility is where I want you guys to go. And what we did was we did a study showing you can improve 46% faster. It's crazy. 46% faster recovery. And that's why when you see guys posting pictures wearing Incrediwear, it's Odell Beckham, it's Klay Thompson. On their own sites, they're posting pictures. And when you see the pictures posted, you know they're wearing it. I didn't give it to them. It wasn't for free. They all bought it. Okay, when you see that, or you go down and you see KD after his surgery wearing my product, where did he get it? Got it from the doctor, got it from the team. Tour de France, or where, top athletes. Last week, or 2 weeks ago, Ben Roethlisberger called me and he goes, hey, I'm using your arm sleeve because I had the surgery on my arm. Arm's doing great, but can you put sticky stuff on it? Because I want it to hold onto the ball better. Mm. That's what happens. That's a think tank. Now I'm like, whoa, maybe I should create a product that does that. And then when you take a look at people that come to you that need their feet amputated, this is an orthopedic surgeon, they put on a product and just 4 days later, it's better. Man, it makes you feel better. And then all of a sudden people start sending you pictures. And then you get like here, USC doing studies for you and saying, hey, I want to do more. And so we need to know the market. You need to look at this. Who is your market for what you're developing? Is it skaters, it's sledders, or skiers? Right now in Europe, we're focusing on soccer players and we're focusing on cyclists. We do the EF race team for recovery, but I do a ton of the teams right now. In fact, our guy's in second place in the Tour to the Giro right now in Italy. And then what you do is you go and lecture around the world. This is me in the Czech Republic. That's the head doctor for the Olympic team, head orthopedist right here next to him. And I'm showing him what the product does. And then you develop your product line. So that's really important to know what you're creating. And then you look at what is the product, what needs to be done, and look at all the statistics. This isn't easy. When you create something, you create it and hope that something happens. The end chapter is back here. And when I started, I had the Warriors in 2012. Mm-hmm. The last 7 NBA teams called us. The last 5 NFL teams called us. And this is what's happening is. And then you just develop studies that go along with that are going to help these groups of people, from DOMS to calf injuries. This happens to be with the U.S. Olympic CMO for the Olympics. We reduced injuries for calf injuries and shin splints. And it was all because what did we do? We helped keep the muscle loose. And you start then working with Mark Allen, or you start working with Todd Schroeder, the head of kinesiology at USC. And then all of a sudden you're in Germany working with FC Cologne on a study to prevent injuries. These are all think tanks. And then you developed, what studies do I want to do? Where do I want to do them? What do you want for the outcome? Who's going to actually be running the study? And you hope and pray that people like John call you up and say, yeah, I'm interested. And that's Incrediwear in just like a snippet.
I love it.
It goes a lot deeper. And we have 24 modules of training just like this. They lost a lot of time. But when you're writing and you're actually creating this project that you're doing, it's back, the end is here. And then work your way back. And then let me try to help you with the chapter at the end. What is your idea? Mm-hmm. And run it by the think tank. Do you think this is good? Is it really worth doing, or is it BS? And I think that's the biggest thing. The litmus paper is, one is it really challenging the norm? Is it going to change? Is it a market disruptor? And who are you disrupting? And what is that market going to look like if you're going to bring it to market? And if it does go to market, are you really going to sell it? Mm-hmm. So there's so much to go with it. And John, you asked me a question before we started. 4 years, 5 years, 6 years here. What should you be doing? You start year one, developing that plan. So when you're year six, you're like a Steve Jobs. You're like somebody that, you're somebody that's developed it while you were in school. And now when you get out, you're already ready to roll. And by that time, you're coming to me and I'm going to help you with finding funding. And that's what I also do too. When you have all these groups, you can find funding really easily. Everybody wants an amazing product that's going to change the world.
I love this message. I love, just the big picture of the innovation process, and then even specific to your company. So that's really very interesting. And I really like the idea that you're giving to students that they should approach their education as a way to build their skill set to get to where they want to go. But now I'm going to sort of put you on the spot.
Uh-oh.
If you go back to your undergrad days,
Yes.
what would you tell your younger self? Because right now, you're presenting this, and I'm ready to go. You're presenting a really nice, clear plan, but I'm sure it wasn't always clear to you.
You know what? I was one of the few. I was going to pre-med,
Yeah.
and it's amazing how the world affects you. And just like with this injury affected me, I'm in pre-med, and I'm doing some weightlifting, and I threw out a rib. I didn't know what the hell it was. The doctors didn't know what it was. I did MRIs and did everything, and I think that at that moment, I finally, my parents took me to a chiropractor, and I was like, okay, well, because I was going to be an osteopath, which is very similar to a chiropractor, adjusting and everything. And it was like so rapid that I got better. I was like, whoa, man, that's what I want to do. And all the time, I had the largest, I'm super motivated, as you can probably tell. Don't sleep a lot. And I'm the type that studies 2 weeks before an exam because my brain, you know what? I'm an A student, but I really am not the guy that gets it the first time. And so I need it over and over again. And so I think that as I look back, every event that occurs to you in life has an effect and is a learning lesson, bad and good. And I think that oftentimes, it's so funny is it, I grew up Catholic, still Catholic, and there was this thing back in the day when it was purgatory, where it's like, oh, you gotta, before you can go to heaven, you gotta go to purgatory. And I think college is kind of like a little purgatory that you need to live through. From even parting, you wake up in the morning, it's like, oh my God, I got a class. You're in that. And I think that when I look back and answering this question is that I almost feel like the universe sends you challenges. And if you don't pass the challenge, they send it to you again and again and again. And I think your pathway in your life is presented to you oftentimes, but you don't listen or you don't see it. And I think people are brought to me or brought to you, and they're brought to you because you put a message out into the world. I almost, I'll be thinking, my sports division always says this, and I said, damn it, we still don't have the Green Bay Packers. They haven't ordered, and we don't have, the Eagles, and I don't get it. Why aren't they ordering? And literally the next day they order. And I'm just thinking, I don't know how it works, but I know we're connected. And I'm not saying that it's, the message goes out there, but I think that when you're on purpose in life, things will come to you. And when you're not, when you're in one of these little group things trying to develop an idea, that's BS. The reason why it's BS because you're not there 100%. When you're in John's class, the thing that I can tell you the most is when I graduated, I knew more than anyone in every subject because I wanted to master it. Mm-hmm. And until you master yourself, you're not going to master any business. You're not going to master anything to do with any project that's going to change the world. Master yourself, make you amazing, live by those rules that you create, and then all of a sudden, the world's going to come to you. It really will.
Oh, I love it. What a great message. And I really appreciate the message, especially now that a lot of people are going through some tough times for a variety of reasons. But I think having that perspective that you're trying to grow through those tough times is a great perspective. Jackson, this has been fantastic to talk with you and hear some of your thoughts. And
Hope I didn't talk too much.
no, this is great. And I think it's going to be great for the students to hear this message and others in the endurance community. So thank you for taking the time to share. You've been very generous. This is
Absolutely. And I can't wait, if they want to ask questions, for sure, let's do another Q&A. And I'm always available to come down there. So I love it.
I'm super jealous of your blackboard in the background. That is awesome.
That is the whole wall. I have them all over the office. So, in each different room we have them. So, and when we were talking about, I'm just going to end it this way, is that when we were talking about, that goal in the end, if you don't write it down and you don't have that as your destination, it's like shooting ducks with your eyes closed. Mm-hmm. It's like riding a bike, thinking you're going in a race with your eyes closed or with one leg. You have to write down the direction that you're going, and you'll get there. You just need to then write the action steps to make sure it happens, and never give up. Never surrender.
Yeah, you got to take the risk and write it down and shoot for it. So
I will tell you, you never asked me. You said, where did you get the name Incredible?
So where did you get the name Incrediware?
Thank you. Well, if you guys should watch the movie Incredibles, which was written by my neighbor down the street. And I was watching Jack, who's the guy, the little kid who was running as fast as he could across water without hesitation. And I love the saying Mochi Chu, moving straight ahead without hesitation, Swahili. And it's the same thing as Incrediware came from Incredibles. And in life, you need to be incredible. And when you create that product, it is going to be incredible. And the results that you're going to get are going to be beyond what you ever thought could happen.
Awesome.
All righty.
Thank you, Jackson. This has been great.
All right. We'll talk to you later. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thank you. And thanks everyone for watching.